On March 10th, Lothar von Richthofen reported for duty at his brother's squadron, Jagdstaffel 11. For Manfred, now the undisputed leader amongst the German aces, with 25 victories, it had been no problem to arrange for his younger brother's posting to the unit. In temperament, the brothers were very different from one another. While Manfred was the quintessential Prussian aristocrat, reserved and professional, Lothar was outgoing and likable, the life of any party and highly popular with his squadron mates. Lothar was also somewhat of a playboy and enjoyed the company of women whenever the opportunity availed. In the air, the brothers' styles showed marked differences as well. Manfred had established his career with the instinctive cunning of a seasoned hunter, with great patience and never attacking from the position of a disadvantage. The older von Richthofen didn't believe in taking risks. Lothar, on the other hand, was somewhat of a hothead in the air, bold, impulsive, and all too quick to hurl himself at the enemy, regardless of tactical situation or odds. It was the younger von Richthofen's not-too-subtle aggressiveness that led his older brother to dub him the Butcher. Just as Manfred had learned the business of air fighting from Oswald Boelcke, Lothar learned from his famous brother. 3 weeks after joining Jasta 11, Lothar scored his first victory when he dispatched an Fe-2B on the German side of the lines near Lens. With Lothar's arrival at the front, there was little time to get attuned for the ferocity the air war would adopt the following month, when the British launched their offensive at Arras. Bloody April, as it would become known immediately afterwards, would be a devastating month for the Royal Flying Corps, while at the same time being a fantastic period for their German counterparts, including the von Richthofen brothers. With the war now in its fourth year, the outlook on the Western Front remained as bleak as ever. Despite the huge campaigns the previous year, the line had not moved more than a few miles in either direction, east or west. A huge scar in the earth still ran from the English Channel to the Swiss frontier, a gruesome 350-mile belt of trenches, dugouts, barbed wire, machine gun nests, and mud. Miles and miles of mud. The hard spring rains had soaked into the churned moonscape and filled the thousands of shell craters with a nightmarish slime that had claimed men and equipment at an alarming rate. The main British campaign for 1917 was centered in the Flanders region of Belgium, a large, flat, water-soaked area east of Arras. The Battle of Arras began on April 9th, but after an initial gain of 4 miles ground to a halt, mired in a sea of mud and having already claimed 160,000 British casualties. The air campaign launched in support of the ground offensive was an immense undertaking for the Royal Flying Corps. 50 British squadrons, made up of 750 machines, were arrayed along the front where the battle would commence. 1/3 of the aircraft were fighters, Sopwith Pups, French-built Spads and Nieuports, de Havilland IIs, and some of the newly arrived Sopwith triplanes. The two-seater outfits were equipped with various types as well, Sopwith Strutters, Fe-2 Pushers, and Royal Aircraft Factory RE-8s. The bulk of the frontline units were still flying BE-2s though, the awful quirks which should have been retired from service a year and a half earlier. Built in such vast numbers, these relics continued to fly long past their usefulness, and their demoralized air crews longed for the day when the quirks would be retired from service. The coming battle would effectively fulfill their wishes. On the German side of the line, the Jagdstaffeln stood ready for the coming offensive. A dozen squadrons made up of 114 frontline fighters sat opposite the offensive armada assembled by the Royal Flying Corps. The Jasta system that Oswald Boelcke had helped develop the previous year had created a fighting force of highly trained pilots and an advanced set of aerial tactics that would offset the numerical superiority possessed by their British counterparts.